Welcome to the Fabulous 413. I'm Khalees Smith. Later in the show, celebrating the end of the school year with the Better World Picnic at Bridge Street School in Northampton. And we'll meet the artist behind that blocky-looking P-Town bumper sticker you may have seen on people's cars buzzing down 91.
And it's me, Monte.
Hey!
I'm back from the Cape.
Woo! It didn't kill you. This is amazing! Lion's mane mushrooms!
Yes. Yeah.
Please see what I set up when I come back from vacation and I provide for you this whole spread. Okay, I didn't do it, but
This is gorgeous.
it's time for a local hero spotlight. I've been on the Cape where there haven't been as many farms that I had access to, although there's a lot of farmers markets there, a lot of oysters, but where we're at is oyster mushrooms and more with Clarissa Lee-Madden from Grown Up Farm in Belchertown and Jacob Nelson from CISA, the local hero folks. Khalees, you were going crazy when you came into the studio and saw everything.
I know. This is all stuff that I really, really get excited to see in my share, especially and mushrooms. Mushrooms.
We've got the oyster mushrooms somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Do I see them? Yep. And then another, I've never even tried this other type of mushroom.
Lion's mane mushrooms are gaining in popularity. They're not that hard to grow, but their texture is amazing.
They look furry, Furbies.
But taste-wise, they're kind of delicate, almost like seafood. So, you can substitute them for, shellfish or things, and they steak really easily. If you're looking for a meat substitute that doesn't get, mushy. My partner loves mushrooms, but only really likes standard mushrooms raw, and it's a texture thing. But now that I've been expanding their horizons to, oysters and king trumpet, lion's mane is one of the ones that they like quite a bit because the texture really maintains. It's such a wonderful thing to work with. When you see them, pick them up.
And Clarissa, you are intentionally growing this weird type of stuff by design. You want to do stuff that is not traditional, not in every single person's farm or farm share. This is kind of your angle.
Absolutely. My background's in fine dining, and I always had the opportunity in those high-end restaurants to really play with some funky, cool-looking and tasting vegetables. So when we wanted to start providing food instead of just cooking it, we said, let's grow the funky stuff.
I can't get enough.
We love the funky stuff.
I do. I love the funky stuff.
Oh, that funky stuff.
Tell us a little bit about some of the funky stuff apart from these lion's mane mushrooms and the oyster mushrooms that you brought with us today.
Sure, yeah. Everything I brought today is kind of at the height of its season right now, which is kind of a weird in-between season. We're still having cool nights and warmer days. So you get things like garlic scapes and radishes and fun salad turnips, because regular turnips aren't available until middle of summer. So I grow the Hockerai turnips. And nobody else around us is growing these things, so we're not stepping on any toes. We're really working with other farms to provide a whole bevy of deliciousness for our communities.
One of the most self-affirming things to grow is radishes. They come up in 20, 25 days. They take no effort at all. You can put them right in the soil.
Yeah.
And in 3 weeks, you have radishes, and you didn't have to do anything. Radishes are there for you and easy to please and so easy to eat in so many ways, including I wouldn't say non-traditional, because it's a very French thing to do, to saute your radishes. But you've brought us sauteed radishes, and I'm so happy in this moment that somebody else did it and I didn't have to tell them about it.
Should we eat that?
Yeah.
Absolutely eat those. So a lot of people have an aversion to radishes because they taste like spicy dirt.
I love spicy dirt, though. But spicy dirt in butter?
Right? So these I just tossed with a little oil, roasted at 400 for about 5 or 6 minutes. Dressed them with a really simple vinaigrette.
Oh, my word.
Yep.
Clarissa Lee-Madden from Grown Up Farm in Belchertown. You mentioned that you came from a fine dining background. Tell us a little bit about that background.
Mostly restaurants in Providence and Cambridge. We were at Lot 401 for several years. I was pastry chef in all of my restaurant iterations until we started catering. I enjoy savory foods more than sweet.
Yep.
So working with these sorts of things is really my jam, more than chocolate and sugar.
Radishes more than chocolate and sugar?
Yes.
That's a hot take. That's hotter than spicy dirt right there.
These radishes, though, I'm going to say, maybe not chocolate, but other sugars for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, when we decided to get out of kitchens, we wanted to provide food to everybody, not just people who can afford to go to really expensive, fancy fine dining restaurants. We really wanted to reach out and provide these fun ingredients we've been able to play with to everybody.
So did you come from those restaurants and buy a farm in Belchertown? How did you get to Belchertown?
Literally, that's what we did. We bought an acre of land, and it was just an acre of plain old land, but the farmland there is good. The soil is beautiful.
Yeah.
And we started growing things 2019 just for ourselves. In 2020, the pandemic kind of hit our community, hit everybody's communities really hard. So we said, well, we need to feed our neighbors. So that's what we did.
That's amazing.
Have they been really receptive? Have you been able to do educational, outreachy things with regards to the more fun, I don't want to say funky,
That funky stuff.
and I don't want to say non-traditional because it's not as if these things are not grown as regular crops in other parts of the world. It's just unusual for this area, shall we say, ingredients.
Yeah, that's actually been one of the most fun things for me personally. Being at the markets, talking about the kind of vegetables that I'm bringing. People say, what? What are those? Like, oh, they're cucamelons. Try one,
Cucamelons are some of the most bizarre looking things. Just like,
And they're so
They're
fun.
so tiny and so fun.
Every new vegetable that you mentioned, Clarissa, Khalees, you're like, oh, I know exactly what that is.
Khalees is into the deep cuts when it comes to
Yeah.
cutting vegetables.
That's adventurous.
Yeah. And so, Clarissa, you're at 4 different farmers markets this summer,
Yes.
right? And that's one of the places where you're getting to interact with folks and maybe explain what some of these interesting foods that you're growing are.
Yes,
right?
yes. We're in Belchertown, which is our local town market.
We just talked to them about their Sunday market last week.
Fantastic. We were there at the market, I should say. Yeah, and Sundays we also do East Hampton. Wednesdays there's a new market in South Hadley, which is fantastic. And then we are also in Chicopee, which is still an up-and-coming market. I think last year was their first year.
Oh, really?
And they're really starting to build community awareness for the market in Chicopee.
Let's taste something else that you brought for us
Yeah, what
today.
else we got
We'll do
here,
it for you,
Clarissa?
listener.
Pickle.
What are
Yes.
these?
So those are the Hakurei turnips, which are here fresh. They are a really interesting turnip because they have a little bit of sweetness. They don't have as much of that. I hate to use the word funk again, but
Can't get enough.
What experience are you having right now, Monte?
I loved them fresh, but pickled, they are
They're
just
so good.
dynamite.
did you try the leaves?
I did.
Yes.
I was going to ask how you make that, Clarissa. What did you do to create that transformation?
So those are lacto-fermented. So you have a ratio of salt to water, and you pack all of your vegetables, pour the cold solution over it, and they're still crunchy, right?
Yeah.
Still crunchy.
The way I do my lacto-fermented pickles is
You should bring
show
down-
you the jar.
Clarissa grabs a mason jar.
so inside you'll see a grape leaf, and that grape leaf provides tannins to keep your vegetables crispy.
Ooh.
So whenever you're doing lacto-fermented veggies and such on your counter, see if you can find a grape leaf. Just rinse it. You don't want to wash off any of the flora, and chuck it in there. In about 5 days, you will start to see the salt solution getting cloudy, and that means it's working.
We're speaking with Clarissa Lee-Madden from Grown Up Farm in
Trying so hard
Belchertown.
not to chew right into the microphone.
I love all those mouth noises, as do all the listeners.
I've been
I
chewing
hate
into the
them.
microphone this whole time.
And Jacob
Sorry
Nelson
about
from
that.
CISA, the local hero folks. Clarissa, we mentioned your fine dining background, and you have a farm now in Belchertown. You're making all this great stuff that not a ton of other people locally are making, but you also continue to be a chef and have another fun part of your culinary adventure.
Yes, I am very fortunate to be able to be a chef while I'm farming. So I get to go out on yachts, and I'm a personal chef on yachts during the summer season.
So you'll leave the farm now
I will
and go
leave.
on to a yacht? Who takes over the farming in the height of the farming season in Belchertown while you're on a yacht?
My very capable farmer husband. He is absolutely in charge of all the plants, and he is fantastic at growing. I mean, the man was born with 2 green thumbs.
And you have a family on the farm too?
I do. My husband and my son.
Do you know where you'll be going on the yacht?
Well, I just got back from 3 weeks in the Baja region of Mexico, which
Wow.
was beautiful.
Nice.
Yes. The produce was amazing. I hit
Excellent.
up 2 different farmers markets. It was insane how many varieties of fresh greens and vegetables and the avocados, guys.
Well,
Yeah.
I know it's stereotype, but wow.
Avocados from Mexico. People love to brand that.
But they taste so much better when you get them and they're there and they didn't have to be in
And
a
they're
truck
in
for so
Mexico.
long.
Avocados in Mexico better than avocados from Mexico.
Yes.
But
Yes.
it's interesting to think about, you visiting a farmer's market in Baja, Mexico, and seeing all these different types of foods that are less familiar to you and your palate. And that experience is available right here, too, just like visiting you at one of these 4 farmers markets that you sell at. Come 2 weeks from now, these vegetables that you've brought us today to taste, that's going to be something totally different. And there's this choose your own adventure that unfolds all summer around us to expand with curiosity some of the things we're eating. And that's so cool. You didn't have to go anywhere. It's right here.
You're
Right?
absolutely right. And that's
So-
one of the reasons I always promote CSAs. We have so many beautiful local farms in this area, and a lot of them provide CSAs to their members. And it
That's
is
community-supported agriculture. It's a farm share, as opposed to CISA, community involved in sustaining agriculture. I get that those acronyms can be tricky because they're so related.
I got to ask you about growing mushrooms because, I love that there are now still only really a handful of mycology places around here growing the fun mushrooms, as I would say, because there's so many varieties of oyster mushroom. You're growing the mushrooms on the farm?
Yes.
Yes. What made you decide to move into doing that as well? Because that's not so typical, but I also think, and you know what, I'm going to leave that question there and then I'll ask the second part later. Okay.
we actually started growing mushrooms first. That was our first crop that we really wanted to provide outside of the normal stuff. So we have been growing mushrooms on our own for about 10 years now. Before that, we were foraging for about 10 years. And I said, if I have to eat another bug, I will die. Can we please grow our own?
The joke aside to all those vegans foraging out there's no way that you've stayed vegan foraging mushrooms
You're
in the
eating
woods.
bugs. You're
There's
eating
just
bugs.
no way. However accidental, you have definitely gotten animal protein. Sorry.
Cold hard facts.
So we started growing oysters. We grow the pink ones year round, even though they are a tropical variety, because my husband built this beautiful indoor growing facility for us. It's an old ice cream refrigerator truck box, so that he then converted into this clean space. So we have, the flow hood for the cultures to keep everything really, really clean. And then we have 3 growing tents inside where we can control the humidity and temperature to make sure we're providing the optimum environment for the kinds of mushrooms that we're growing.
You've created a literal mushroom.
Yes.
Monty's
Didn't
back,
you miss
everybody.
me, Khalees?
Monty's back, everyone.
Speaking with Clarissa Lee-Madden
Oh, boy.
from Grown Up, which is not me, Farm in Belchertown, and Jacob Nelson from CISA. You wanted to ask the second part of
did
your
wanna ask
question,
this-
but let's eat something before we get to the second part of the
Yeah,
question.
what else we got here?
So
Clarissa?
I'm going to highly recommend that you dig into those broccolini leaves. They are roasted broccolini leaves. I know everyone's familiar with kale chips. I find them to be a little bit dusty on the palate, and these have more flavor, more texture, and what's really great about them is they're typically a throwaway product. People get their broccolini from the farmer's market. A lot of times the leaves are stripped off, but we leave them on. So you can do this.
Same thing, little oil, throw them in the
Little oil, roast
oven
'em.
with some salt.
2 or 3 minutes.
Delicious.
Stop throwing away the leaves of cauliflower and broccoli. They're great stewing greens because everything in that family generally is. You can stir fry them. You can saute them. You can braise them. It's wonderful. Stop throwing your leaves away.
You better be careful, Khalees, or Clarissa is going to get you on the yacht as a sous chef.
Is this my pitch meeting? Because I think I'm doing it pretty well
I think
so
you are
far.
doing it.
Without even
You're doing
realizing
it
that you're
really well.
auditioning.
I haven't been a sous
You're
in
nailing it.
15 years, but whatever. My knife skills are still here.
Yes, I love this. It's really great.
My other question about mushrooms is how many varieties are you currently growing? I already made known that lion's mane is kind of low key my favorite, but I have a soft spot for chestnuts and beeches.
I love beaches. Bette Midler.
Classic. Iconic.
Monty's still back.
You took away your friendship without even discussing it with me.
Monty is still back.
From the beach.
Where there were not the same mushrooms because these have to ease like the trees.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think is how they got their name because they like that environment. They like those trees to grow on, but I might be wrong about that.
I think you're on point. Yeah.
Great.
We do grow several varieties of oysters partially because they are familiar. They're so easy to cook. And they're really pretty. Mm-hmm. They're like my flowers in the winter, especially the pinks, the golds, which I have here, the blues. We grow the kings and black pearls, which have the big, chunky stems to them. You can kind of scallop them like scallops.
Like scallops, they do turn out quite like scallops.
Our most popular one that we grow is lion's mane. There's so much hype around it right now. It's delicious. It has, like you said, a very delicate, almost sweetness to it, kind of like crab meat, without being crab meat. And the texture's super fun. You mentioned tribbles. I think they look like tribbles.
Yeah. That's assuming one tribble multiplying with an average litter of 10, producing a new generation every 12 hours over a period of 3 days.
They do look like
Trouble with tribbles is they taste delicious. Yes. Sorry, vegans, you get bugs with them too.
But not these, because we grow these indoors.
Well, there you go. Perfect.
What else haven't we talked about that you've brought us to try here? Garlic scape pesto
I see
might
some
be
pesto.
rounding us out.
Yeah.
It is.
And can you demystify garlic scapes for us? I feel like this is one of those things that, like, if you know, you know, and then you're really hype about them. And if you don't, you're like, what the heck is that curly Q?
They're like worms.
tail thing.
Snakes.
Yes. So garlic scapes are the flower of the garlic plant. So you plant your garlic in the fall. It comes up green in the spring, and right about now, June, is when the flowers start to pop up, and they do. They curl right out, and you can reach down, tug straight up, and you'll get a really nice long scape instead of snapping them off. Mm-hmm. And give it a firm tug, and it kind of like snaps down lower. You get these really tender bits, which are very asparagus-y. They have like this garlicky asparagus flavor to them. I think that they are one of my favorite vegetables for the entirety of the summer. They keep really well in your fridge. You can use them on the grill, roasted, in soups, make sauces, saute them up and just throw them in with pasta. They are so versatile, and they have this great flavor profile that really goes with anything.
I substitute them for long beans and stir fries sometimes.
Very nice.
Because sometimes you can't find long beans that are in good condition, but garlic scapes around this time of year are always kind of perfect.
And you made a pesto.
I did. I made 2 pestos, actually. So I brought a cooked pesto, which is where I blanched the garlic scapes so we could eat it fresh here with some gorgeous crusty bread. And then I made an uncooked one where I used the raw.
I was going to make that for you, Khalees. I'm getting it all over the place, ripping it.
Oh,
I only got
man.
a little bit. I only got a little bit.
Like, they're gonna be so mad. It's just like
worry.
we have to clean this whole thing.
Don't worry, fun to drive people. We're going to clean all this stuff out of here. You won't smell the garlic scapes and the pickles and things that we're eating in here once we're pitching for NEPM.
Sorry, not sorry. So what you can do with the raw stuff is all of this freezes really well.
Literally everywhere.
I'm trying to hand it to Jacob while I'm recording and holding bread in my other hand.
There's like napkins here. You have like tools at your disposal. Use them.
I only have 2 hands, Khalees.
Oh my gosh. This is so easy to make. I threw it together
Not
this
easy
morning.
to eat for some
Sure
of
it
us.
is.
Apparently. You get your garlic scapes, food processor, as much cheese as your heart tells you.
All of the cheese.
Yes. A nice little hunk of good Parmesan or, any kind of like good firm cheese that you want to use.
These vegetables are for everyone,
Yes.
right? You were saying that Grown Up Farm just got authorized to accept SNAP last year. And
Congratulations.
at your farm
Thank
stand,
you.
tell people where your
Yes.
farm stand is, and then at these 4 markets too.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, we are really committed to making sure that everyone has access to local produce. And everyone has access to interesting local produce. It's not just green cucumbers, slicing tomatoes, and corn. It should be available to everyone. So getting approved to accept SNAP on the farm stand in Belchertown was very important to me. And all of the markets that we are at also accept SNAP. And a couple of them even do a SNAP match. South Hadley, Chicopee, East Hampton. Those are the ones where you can go use your card, get $10 to use anywhere else in the market as well.
That's wicked cool. That's not a program that I've heard of before.
Yeah, I think the Tuesday market does a little bit of a snap
Yes,
match too on
they do
Northampton.
as well.
Yep, it's Tuesday. This has been delicious. There should be
It's like, is this going to be like the wine thing where like we've
Yeah, well,
accidentally made the
we've upped
farmers
the
up their
ante
game?
Yeah, we've upped the
by
ante too
bringing
far. I was
us
going to
food?
say that we should have more farmers on who are also chefs, but I don't want to pressure farmers to be more than they
Also,
already need
like,
to be.
I
But
don't-
you
I
happen
think
to
that
be.
Those are both two demanding things.
Yeah.
Our NEPM compatriots would literally kill us if we did this to the
If I
studio.
keep getting
every
garlic
week.
scape pesto all over the board while
my
I'm trying to
God.
juggle 15 different things, they're not
They're
going.
all-
John
they're already-
Nowacki is going to lose his mind.
They're already just trying to get the things to work, and now we just slathered garlic scapes all over everything. We're like, eat it!
You need to support New England Public Media for a full cleaning of these brand new studios because of all the garlic pesto that I've gotten all over the place.
We're sorry, engineers. We love you.
Yes, Clarissa Lee-Madden from Grown Up Farm in Belchertown and a bunch of farmers markets in the area, and Jacob Nelson from CISA, who are the local hero folks, where you can find out about all the different farm shares and all the different farmers markets through their website at buylocalfood.org. Thank you both so much.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
for
stop
having
throwing
me
away
here.
your turnip greens and your radish greens, too. Put them in salads or saute them. The end.
Coming up, celebrating the end of the school year with a school who's trying to make the world a better place.
We'll take you to the Better World picnic at the Bridge Street School in Northampton. You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on NEPM.
Think of giving to this NPR station like planting a perennial. Tend to it now, and it will be there for you year after year. Donate today.
Go to nepm.org right now to become a member of New England Public Media.
It's our June membership drive at NEPM. Thanks if you're already a member, and if not, please consider giving now at 800-639-8850 or online at nepm.org. Your support makes the Fab 413 possible. We're taking just a few minutes to talk about the importance of listener support, and here's Matt Abramovich.
Well, I've got some really good news for everyone listening right now because we have a dollar-for-dollar match in effect. And here's what that means. We've got a good friend of the station, Bill Murphy, here in Springfield, who will kick in $1 for every dollar you give right now to support NEPM and support all the great work that you can expect from Clarissa and Monte every single day here at the station. So you give $100, he'll kick in $100. It's worth $200 to support everything at NEPM. So this is a great time to have your contribution go twice as far when you give at nepm.org and get your contribution matched. You can also call 800-639-8850.
And a lot of people think that public media gets most of its money from the federal government, but that's not true, especially here at NEPM. More than 60% of our money comes from community support. Only a tiny percentage of our budget actually comes from the federal government, and we like it that way. It's why we're listener-supported public radio and not government-supported radio. And thanks to the support of our members, we don't have to depend on federal funding to keep the news on the air.
800-639-8850 is the number to call, nepm.org. And we are here listening to Khalees and Monte with the Fabulous 413, a show that is all about our community and discovering the people and the places, the history, and the future of this region that we care about so much. And just to give you a little look into the future of this week, the show will have panelists from Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me just before their show in Tanglewood on Thursday. And they're going to be going live from the Green River Festival on Friday. So there's so much great work happening in this community, and it's all happening because of community support. So if you've not yet given to the show, this is a great time to make your gift at nepm.org or by calling 800-639-8850.
Support NEPM and get entered to win a $500 LL Bean gift card. $500 is enough to gear up for summer camping or fishing or hiking, or just get a couple of pairs of new sneakers like I need. Maybe splurge on duck boots, fleece flannel for the whole family. The gift card can be used in-store or online when you shop. Please support your listening by making a contribution now and get entered to win a $500 LL Bean gift card when you do. Give online at nepm.org or 800-639-8850.
And remember, every contribution that comes in right now is being matched dollar for dollar. A good friend of the station here in Springfield is putting these dollars on the table for you to claim. Show your support for the station and everything that happens here in the Fabulous 413 and get your contribution doubled. NEPM.org or 800-639-8850.
Never given before? Become a new member. It doesn't take much money to make a difference. Most people start out by giving less than $100. $500 per month would be amazing, but you don't have to. $5 a month works. $7.50 bucks a month does also. NEPM.org, 800-639-8850.
But if you do have $500 a month you want to
we're
give,
for
you
it.
got to figure out what your own budget might work for and see how much you feel like you're comfortable giving if you support the work of public media and New England public media in particular. We're trying to build this show to give you a better glimpse into what is going on in your world. Do you think you could give $1,000 or more and join the Murrow Society as a producer? Your gift will go a long way towards keeping NPR programming here on NEPM. 800-639-8850.
Giving just takes 2 minutes of your time. We need your name, a little contact information, which we keep private. You can sign up as a sustaining member with a recurring monthly payment from your bank account or credit card, or you can make a one-time gift. It's easy on our website at nepm.org or call 800-639-8850.
And remember that every contribution is being matched right now. So if you've been meaning to give during this membership drive, it's the next to last day. We're going to be wrapping this up really soon. So please take advantage of this opportunity to give during the drive and get your contribution doubled with this dollar-for-dollar match. nepm.org or 800-639-8850.
Welcome back to the Fabulous 413. I'm Monte Belmonte, back from vacation, but school kids from all over Western Mass are about to start theirs.
Before the school year wraps up, Monte takes you to a Northampton Public School striving to make the world a better place.
My name is Liz, but when I'm here, I go by Miss Liz, which you can call me if you want.
Thank you for inviting me, Miss Liz.
So we're at Bridge Street School. We are
Northampton?
In Northampton. We're the downtown school, and we're right on Route 9. So you probably see us whenever you come into Northampton.
And what's happening right now?
So this is the Better World Picnic. It is the student showcase of all of our student work and learning over the course of the year. Every year, well, this is our second year, so I sound quite grand when I'm explaining it, but every year we have a new theme. This year's theme is community spaces. So all of the student work relates to ways that teachers and students thought together about our spaces, how we share them in our school, in our city. There's a lot of great ideas around here.
So the Bridge Street School is part of the Northampton school system, but what makes the Bridge Street School special in your estimation here, Ms. Liz?
I'm sure every teacher thinks their school special in their own ways, and I personally just love working at Bridge. It's really got so much of a wonderful mixture of backgrounds, languages, folks that walk to school, folks that bus to school, incomes, and ethnicities, different identities. There's just a lot of different family structures that was just really makes for a magical type of classrooms. You can bring in so many different experiences in one group of like 20 kids. You'll have, I think there's maybe 5 languages spoken in my classroom, and that's similar in a lot of other rooms.
You were saying to me earlier that Bridge Street School, it upends some ideas about what Northampton Public Schools might be like.
It's a little hard when you're inside and you're not like in the neighborhoods. You don't know exactly what people say about the different schools. But I've heard people just kind of casually refer to Bridge as being maybe the one that you wouldn't want to have your kid go, or you wouldn't want to live in this part of the city where this would be your school. A friend of mine referred to it as the black sheep of the Northampton schools. And that's something that I feel like we who work here understand. Some people think, but I feel like that's almost a question for people who live and go, send their kids here, or who don't. They might have more to say about that.
But as a teacher, what's your perspective on that narrative, I guess?
So I went to a school that was considered it's a word I don't even want to say. It's a coded racial word that I'm not gonna say it. But it was understood to be the school that was poor. It was a school that was more mixed racially. And it was a school in the neighborhood where maybe the houses were a little bit run down or whatever. And I understood that people thought we were the dangerous school, and we thought we were the awesome school. We were the one that had so much vibrant, wonderful, engaging things going on, so many engaging things. So I feel the same thing here. I just want to stand on the rooftop and say, oh my gosh, please come see how awesome this school is, and how hard the teachers work, and how the families are so wonderful and all different from each other. And there's ways that we need to do better for all the different families. I think that's one thing that the picnic really shows, is that when you do a lot of work around bringing people in, you get everybody. But a lot of times school events can feel like less accessible. And we felt really proud of last year because of how many people came.
whose idea was it to do this Better World
I'm
picnic?
so glad you asked. So at Bridge, we have a diversity equity committee, and right now it's made up of classroom teachers and some other staff members like the adjustment counselor and special ed teachers. It was last year that we first started meeting, and we pick a text or we pick a series of texts that relate to the theme that we chose. Last year's theme was Voices of the People. And we focused on really highlighting the voices that aren't typically heard. So we met and we talked, we did our own personal work, read about ideas, and then took those ideas and went to our classrooms and went to our coworkers and said, hey, here's an idea for a project. What do you think about trying this? We had a film showing, we tried to get a couple potlucks happening, and so many people, staff, here came in and engaged with that stuff with us. So we did that again this year. So the DEC is maybe about 10 people who work here. It's awesome. I mean, we're so excited that it's kept up, and we're getting a good crowd again. The music's about to start.
Got the expandable brass band over there.
One of the band members happens to be a parent of one of the DEC members, so we had a little special in on that. And there's lots of great food from all sorts of Northampton restaurants, and one of our own families made pupusas.
Oh, nice.
Which you can't go wrong on those.
I'll wait till all the students and families get there.
I
And then
guess
jump in the line.
you could. But I'm eager to hear what other folks say about their experience with our school and with this event. But we feel really proud of our kids and the work we do with them.
Some of the tables here at the picnic highlighting things like messages to our neighbors without houses. These cards will be distributed around town where people without houses go for support. Writing a positive message to a houseless person in the city. And that's the expandable brass band in the background.
Hi, my name is Soledad Thorman.
And you have a child that goes here?
Yes, I do. I do have a fourth grader.
Mm-hmm. And they've been going here since kindergarten?
Yes, that's true. We moved to Northampton in 2018, and there is when he started the kindergarten here. We live really close by, And I'm from Peru. I have been living in the United States for around 10 years now, and I love around here. I love Northampton. I love Bridge Street. They are really, for my kid, the way how they welcome him and they are open to everybody here, make you feel good. I was working also here as a paraprofessional for 4 years. Almost 4 years. And I stopped working here because I opened my own daycare, family daycare at home. So I'm kind of doing my own business now. But, maybe with time I will be able to come back here.
That's great. Tell me about the community around Bridge Street School. We're at the Better World picnic. How is Bridge Street making the world a better world through this community?
Well, this is the second year, and as you can tell here, and I know people cannot see it through the radio, but you have families from everywhere here. And the good thing about this kind of program is everybody feels welcome. It's close to the principal, to the teachers. It's like you are just a regular person here, and you can talk to them. It's not like you don't have this barrier to say people, I'm the principal and I'm not going to talk to you. No, here is the principal. She's serving the food over there. Carol is our principal this year, and we are really happy with her.
That's so great. What else do you want people to know about Bridge Street School?
Well, I want people to know that Bridge Street is a good place for your kid, especially if you are coming from a different culture, because you have people who really care about your student here. And we have teachers like Miss Liz, for example. She goes above and beyond for their kids, and she will try to do anything for them. And, as a parent, you feel like you have people who really care about your kids. And as a person working here, because I used to work inside the school, you can tell even sometimes a lot of pressure because you have to get to everybody here. That's your goal. And you are not alone here. A lot of people who work in the school are trying to do the same thing like you, so that you are not alone working here.
Ms. Liz was saying earlier that some people might have the perception that Bridge Street School in Northampton on Route 9 is an outlier in the Northampton school system, but you have maybe a different perspective. What's your name?
My name is Ayana Morse.
You live here in Northampton?
I live here in Northampton. I'm a parent of 3 kids at Bridge Street School.
Tell me your perspective about the school.
We've had a really great experience so far. The teachers are wonderful. The community is really sweet. It's the most diverse school in the city, which we find really exciting. We moved from Los Angeles, and so feels less diverse than that, but
it's also a lot smaller here.
Also a lot smaller here. Yes. Yeah, we've had some really great experiences, and I was saying to Miss Liz that I think, I asked if that was still true, that people think of Bridge as a black sheep school. I have the sense that that is changing in perception.
People from Los Angeles want to go to a school that feels more diverse and inclusive in this way.
Yeah, and that's so much more resourced than many of the urban districts that people are moving from, as more people are moving into Northampton.
One of the other exciting things at Bridge Street School is the walking school bus. What's your name?
Woo! I'm Becky. I'm Mackie.
Olivia.
I'm Howard.
Tell me about the walking school bus and why it's exciting.
So the walking school bus is a wonderful thing. We have neighbors who help the kids get to school in the morning, children who can't get a school bus because they're too close to the school. So we meet them along the path to school and we take them to school.
And you are just community volunteers? Or?
Yeah, they just join us walking as we walk to school, and and we wear these special vests.
Oh, look at you showing off your vest.
And are you a walking school bus volunteer
Yes,
too?
and I will actually be the coordinator come this September.
We make sure that we are there on time and our route is
keep
very
them in
precise.
line.
The train runs on time.
What made you all want to get involved in this?
She has kids that went here.
Hi. I have two kids who came to the school. One is leaving this year. The Walking School Bus Initiative was launched in 2016, 2017, and they needed a coordinator, so I was a caregiver here and said that I would do it, and I've been working with these fabulous people ever since. So I don't actually walk, but I keep the bus running, so to speak. So
I had a neighbor that did it, and she posted about it on Facebook, and I said, hey, this seems like a cool thing to do. So I contacted Stephanie, and
When we started it the first year, there were just, I think, 3 of us drivers. And we had
call yourselves drivers?
Yes. And we had one route. There are a lot of different motivations. None of them by themselves would have been enough. One was just the horrendous sort of parking situation during drop-off in the morning here on Bridge Street. Another was just this realization that there were lots of people who lived really close to school who didn't walk to school, and we wanted to sort of model the idea that it's possible to do in all weather. And then there's, research that shows that kids who walk to school actually do better in all sorts of ways, like in terms of mental health and academics and everything. So, it's like a good thing. And then finally, it's one of the few things you can do that doesn't have some sort of trade-off or sacrifice or something. Like, there's no martyrdom involved. It's good for me. I like going for a walk. And it's good for the other people, and nobody is sort of hurt by it in any way. So,
do the walking school bus drivers get together when school isn't in session to just all go for a walk together? Or?
We have ridden our bikes out to Look Park.
Sometimes we get coffee.
So there are perks.
it is an amazing community. When we started this, I didn't realize that was going to be the primary benefit of it for our students and for our community members. It's such a great group, and our kids benefit tremendously from knowing all of you. So.
I think one of the biggest things is teaching the kids how to walk in the city. I'm very strict about them learning to look right and left and
That's
crossing.
a big thing.
It is a big thing. And, when we have the little kindergartners, sometimes they're just full of energy and pep and they'll just start running. And you really do have to teach them how to cross the street.
But there's fun things too, like the kids some days will just sing their favorite pop song. They know 3 lines, they'll sing them over and over for the whole way.
Which one of those songs could you never stand to hear again?
I loved them all.
Okay, good. Do you mind me mentioning that you're in a wheelchair? Because I think that's an interesting thing that gets lost on the radio. Yeah.
That's fine.
You are leading the walking school bus, but you yourself are in a wheelchair.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes I am.
You're a driver, yeah.
Yep.
I think that's great too, because you're modeling that anybody can do all of these things.
Exactly. I think it's important to show kids, you can do these things even if you're disabled. You may have to do it in a different way, but you can still do it.
Olivia is also an alumni of Bridge Street School, which I think is pretty notable.
This was your school.
Yep, I was here in the late 90s and 2000s.
Nice.
So, yeah, I love this school, and I'm really, really happy to be a part of it in a way still.
Thanks once again to everyone at the Bridge Street School's Better World Picnic. We hope students and teachers have a great summer vacation.
And I'm fresh back from summer vacation myself. I spent some time in
Except
P-Town.
you took it in the spring.
I know. Investigating that mysterious P-Town logo bumper sticker you might have seen on cars in the 413.
We'll meet the artist behind the logo and hear about the similarly themed Northampton one this Provincetown artist has created. You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on NEPM.
And it's everybody's favorite time of year, the NEPM June membership drive. It ends tomorrow. If you have not yet given, make your contribution. Giving now can help pay for programs like the Fabulous 413, listening in the months ahead, and you'll help to wrap up the fund drive tomorrow. NEPM.org or 800-639-8850. I'm here with NEPM CEO Matt Abramovitz.
And you can double the buying power of your contribution thanks to a good friend in Springfield. Give $10 a month. They'll donate the annual value of $120 to NEPM. You give $15 a month. That turns into $360 to help pay for programs like the Fabulous 413. One-time gifts are also matched, but that dollar-for-dollar match is only good for the next 15 minutes. So if you've been meaning to give, take advantage of this dollar-for-dollar matching period during the Fabulous 413 and give at NEPM.org or by calling 800-639-8850.
I'm really lucky to work with Khalees on the news floor here at NEPM, and you wouldn't believe the work that they do to try to make sure they get their stories straight. Not just a few basic facts. They're doing this hard work day in and day out before they report the story. They're not forcing their opinions on you. They give you the opportunity to make up your own mind, and that kind of news deserves to be on the radio. Please give monthly to support it, NEPM.org or 800-639-8850.
And another thing that deserves to be on the radio is the Fabulous 413, because there's no place else where you're kind of like sitting around the table, almost like at your dinner party, listening to all the great stories from our region and meeting so many people, neighbors who have stories you know, stories you don't know, and you're learning so much about what makes Western Massachusetts special every single day, thanks to Khalees and Monte, who are here making this show for you. And if that's an important part of what makes this radio station special, make a gift right now at 800-639-8850 or NEPM.org.
And right now, before the end of the hour, there's a dollar-for-dollar match. Give $120, and an extra $120 is donated to NEPM by a generous donor from Springfield, who I believe his last name is Murphy. I'm a quarter Murphy. Maybe I should throw in a quarter for every... Never mind. That gets too complicated mathematically. They want to help make the membership drive a success. It's over tomorrow. Give now. Get your dollar contribution doubled in the next 13 minutes. NEPM.org or 800-639-8850.
But this is where I say, but wait, there's more.
Is there?
Yes.
Wait, don't tell me.
When you support NEPM, you get entered to win a $500 LL Bean gift card. Now, $500 can go a long way towards duck boots or fishing gear, or maybe get you closer to that new kayak you've been wanting to get. And it can be used in-store or online. So when you support your listening, you're making a contribution now and you're helping us through the year, but you're also getting entered to win a $500 LL Bean gift card. Give online at NEPM.org. You don't have to make a contribution to be entered, but we hope you sure will. You can also call 800-639-8850.
Thousands of people support NEPM, and in return, you can tell us that you hear news that matters here. Maybe you like the stories that you're hearing, the reportage, the different shows, the great weekend programming, the excellent music. Give right now. Become a new member if you've not been a member. 800-639-8850 or NEPM.org.
And every contribution is matched. We have a dollar-for-dollar match in effect for 12 more minutes. Take advantage of this and double your impact on NEPM and the Fabulous 413. NEPM.org or 800-639-8850.
The Fabulous 413 is funded by PV Squared Solar, a worker-owned cooperative and certified B Corp celebrating 20 years of providing solar energy solutions, pvsquared.coop. And by Chester Theater Company, presenting The Making of a Great Moment, a love letter to the theater on bicycles. June 22nd through July 2nd, chestertheater.org.
Welcome back to the Fabulous 413. I'm Monte Belmonte.
And I'm Khalees Smith. While Monte was vacationing on the Cape of Cod, he couldn't help but do a little bit of work, because he can't help himself, when his interest was piqued on the streets of Provincetown after seeing a strange logo he's been spotting on bumpers all over Western Mass.
One of Western Mass's favorite vacation haunts, given that Northampton is the lesbian capital of the world, is P-Town, Provincetown, Massachusetts, on Cape Cod, where I happen to be right now. And one of my favorite things to do would be driving around and seeing this interestingly fonted word that took me, I will say, multiple tries to figure out what it was saying. I didn't know if it was Hebrew. I didn't know what it was trying to say, but it is a very blocky font that says P-Town. And I walked into a store on Commercial Street in Provincetown where the sign with that blocky font was out in front, and asked at the counter, who created that font? And you said, you. Who are you?
I'm Tim Convery. And I developed the logo, the P-Town logo, just about 11 years ago. And I created it with duct tape. That's why it's so blocky.
I love it.
And it was actually back in the 80s that I started working with tape and then abandoned it for a career in design that crashed and burned in 2009.
Because of the whole economic collapse, or because
I think partly with me too. I created my own economic crisis myself with my boss. But you know what?
We don't need to delve into that story, perhaps.
But it's actually all good news because it got me to P-Town and it got me working with tape again. And you know, and I opened the store in 2012, and I started with P-Town, and then products and posters and home goods all based on P-Town. But now I have over 200 different destinations that are available as posters, mugs, and T-shirts that are available online.
I love it because I had heard tell from our friend who's vacationing here too that they've got more than just the P-Town. I walk in, I see the Citgo sign with Boston, beautiful place in my heart for that, and then they've got all of these posters up here from NOLA and Seattle and Tel Aviv, so maybe this could actually be Hebrew script, but it's like a phenomenon. I feel like I see these all over the place.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy what happened. Like, two things that I'm kind of obsessed with are travel posters, and I'm also obsessed with typography because I did design for years. So what I did when I was creating this stuff was it's very limited, it's a very limited color palette, and I only have so many spaces to fit in characters to create the town. So I either make ligatures or combine the letters together, which is a ligature, or piggyback the letters so that it creates like a funny little icon. And then there's an image that sort of tells you about the location. So what happens is outside I have the prints in the window, and it never fails when I open up in the morning, somebody comes in and says, what is that one in the upper right-hand corner? So there's this game to it where people are getting the information, so it becomes like a fun puzzle for people.
So one of the images associated with P-Town is the Pilgrim Monument. I see that on this T-shirt over here. But the other one, and maybe the first one I saw, was the fishtail, which I associate with Christianity. So I was like, and sometimes Christianity and the ethos of things in P-Town don't always jive.
No, it's actually a whale. I had a fight with this lady. She's like, well, I think it's a fish. I'm like, honey, you can think whatever you want. I said it's a whale. It's a funny story because I wasn't going to do, it's one of the things that gets that visual out there is the bumper stickers. These black and white bumper stickers that I started doing in 2012 of this whale visual. I remember seeing somewhere on Twitter people arguing about, no, it's this Christian on the Cape, or no, it's this, or no, it's that. So, I mean, I think the controversy is sort of hilarious, but, you know, just truth be told, it is not a fish. It is a whale.
And it is not a Christian on the Cape,
it is
necessarily.
Not,
I can't assume.
And I'm not a Christian on the Cape either.
Do you know about the Eat More Kale T-shirt bumper sticker phenomenon?
No, I never heard of that.
Are you kidding?
So we're in Western Mass, and there's a lot of those bumper stickers too. But it's funny that this is a duct tape influenced ligature or design because that guy's Eat More Kale font was based upon his own fingers. He traced them and and so then he got sued, speaking of Christians fighting with people, by Chick-fil-A because their logo is Eat More Chicken. And Chick-fil-A, being a huge corporation, sued this Southern Vermont-based designer because they thought people would get confused between Eat More Chicken and Eat More Kale.
If you think that Vermonters don't understand the difference between kale and a chicken sandwich, we invite you to Vermont and we'll give you a lesson about the difference between a kale and a chicken. Yeah. Kale is a vegetable. Chickens are birds.
And he won in a lawsuit. So
Good.
I'm all for the strong, independent, out-of-the-ordinary, font-based artists.
Well, I would rather die of starvation than eat anything from Chick-fil-A. And I thought those Christians are supposed to forgive and love and do all that jazz.
Well, yeah.
Which is sort of...
The rainbow's supposed to remind us to love everybody, and it's Pride Month, so let's remember that, no matter what background you're from. Right. Well, thank you for giving us a little glimpse into all this. Are you going to make a Western Mass based duct tape logo sometime?
You know what? I don't have anything. Well, I have one for Northampton, which is a Birkenstock with someone wearing a rainbow tube sock, but I don't know how that really covers all of it. I mean, there's so much going on out there.
Yeah.
But I do need to do like a Shire one, even, for the Berkshires. Something like that. So, hey, you know what? You people, you want to email me, tim@tim-scapes.com. I throw it all in the hopper. You never know what's coming out.
Tomorrow in the Fabulous 413, words that are next to things.
That is not quite what the prefix para means, but we'll discover how it is part of a word Merriam-Webster is watching with word nerd Emily Brewster.
And we'll speak with Terry Janor about Secret to Life, an immersive theater and music project centering the stories of elder women of color coming to Bombyx in Florence this weekend.
Our director is Tony, still mad about missing the tragedy show last week done.
Our engineer is Betsy, fully mobilized baby Lankto.
Our technical team is Bart, crammed into the front row at Tweety Rankin, Karen, Nefarious Methods to Get Scotch Foster, and Punk Rude Boy Dubé.
Thanks to Spouse, Happy Valley Guitar Orchestra, the Expandable Brass Band, Suitcase Junket, Kool and the Gang, Bette Midler, Star Trek, former Vermont Governor Peter Shumlin, Roddy Bottom, and Homebody.
I'm Khalees Smith.
I'm Monte Belmonte.
See you tomorrow on the Fabulous 413.
And the NEPM June membership drive ends tomorrow, but it is still going on here at WNNZ AM 640 Westfield, WNNZ FM 91.7 Deerfield, WFCR 88.5 HD3 Amherst, WNNU 89.5 Great Barrington, WNNI 98.9 in Fighting Adams, WAIC 91.9 in Fabulous Springfield, WAMH 89.3 in Amherst, and streaming at NEPM.org. I'm Monty from the Fabulous 413, and as I mentioned, the June membership drive ends tomorrow. If you have yet to give, what can we do to implore you to make a contribution right now? If you like the type of programming you hear on NNZ, the fabulous NPR programming, the incredible programming on the weekends, wait, don't tell me which we'll have the guest from on Thursday's show in the Fabulous 413 before we at the staff go to Tanglewood to check it all out. Keep us on the air. 800-639-8850 or NEPM.org. I'm joined in the studio by the person we thank at the end of every episode of the Fabulous 413, our director, Tony Dunn.
Thanks so much, Monty. Did you know that most people who decide to support NEPM actually put off giving? Sometimes it's for a few hours, sometimes it's days, and sometimes it's months. Why do they do that? Because they don't think they have the time. But what ends up happening is no matter when people end up actually making their contribution, it's because they finally fit it in their busy schedule. We understand that. It's why we make giving short and simple. And that makes now the perfect time to fit it in your day. NEPM.org or 800-639-8850.
And we have a very generous match that is going through the end of this hour. 800-639-8850 or NEPM.org. Make a $413 contribution and turn it into $826 thanks to a generous donor from Springfield. We created the show The Fabulous 413 because I, for a long time, have believed that this radio station needed to have a place where conversations were happening about things going on in our community, and that dream has been realized over the past few months, and we're only just at the beginning. Keep the Fabulous 413 and the other stellar local programming, national programming, NPR news, music, jazz, classical, and more on the air by going to 800-639-8850 right now or going to NEPM.org.
Thousands of people support NEPM, and in return, you tell us that you hear the news that matters. Our journalism is really important. Your contribution now ensures that everyone in our community has access to important daily news stories, diverse voices, and different points of view. Please make that contribution now to ensure that you have the information you need and the news that matters. Sign up as a new sustaining member at $5 or $10 a month. That gift, along with others, adds up to a public radio station that responds to you. NEPM.org or 1-800-639-8850.
I've done a lot of fundraisers over the years, and I've seen how generous this community is when they believe in something. If you believe in public media, if you believe in community-supported media, just like community-supported agriculture, Support the work here at New England Public Media, nepm.org, or 800-639-8850. Can you give $1 a day? Can you give $5 a day? Are you one of those people that really wants to step up right now and support New England Public Media in a major, major way? Before the end of this hour, all of your dollars will be matched. 800-639-8850 or nepm.org to keep this programming, the Fabulous 413, all the shows that preceded and follow it on the air. 800-639-8850.